这个叫 Assembly with Care， 是一款这个有故事、比较唯美的这个解谜游戏。特点是制作的这个公司好像是纪念碑谷的公司制作的，所以看起来有点意思。这就一开始界面了，我没有点别的东西，刚打开游戏就这样。价格不算很低，但好像自带一个 soundtrack， 啊，就把它塞进去。哦，然后 BGM 是这个，哎，怎么打开的？啊，我靠！我去，就这么开始了。BGM 是这个，好像是80年代的这个风味，据说是这样的。这有地方能插。打开声音以获得本游戏最佳体验。这能改语言吗？啊，暂时不能改语言，也不能打开菜单。Maria's Mix。啊，这样的正式开始就 Assemble with Care 新章节已添加。这不能选择。
After a year on the road, I
等一下，我去搜一下有没有这个别的语言。这个我是最不喜欢，但是说的是英文，看的中文，或者说的日文，看的中文，这应该是能改语言的嘛？啊，可以改语言。等一下啊，我先退了这游戏。这里能改吗？啊，这还能看成就了。啊，这里就能选了呢。重置进度，成就呢？成就就是 Steam 打开了是不是？啊，全关起来。然后呢，重置进度，图形呢 ，graphic， 这就 graphic， 抗锯齿2.0，这语言应该挺多的。有声语言能选，我只有英文吗？啊，还有俄语。不要选中文，选英文。然后是 language audio graphics， 是 voice effect music 稍微轻一点。一般这种是多少呢？7、8、9可能会好一点。graphic 刚刚好像看过了。credits， 这个公司是吧 ？reset process，yeah。这样刚好从头开始。这不是 best play with sound 的 ，best play 就是最好是带着耳机来玩这个，因为音乐质量挺高的。New chapter added， 这什么时候流行？这我确认一下，好像确实写的好像是这个追加了新的一关，纪念碑谷团队全力新作，价格32，什么时候出来？2022年3月26号，那有点时间了，来吧。
After a year on the road,
对呀
I thought I'd get tired of traveling. The endless clatter of railways, highways, and everything in between.
这个才正常嘛。
But as my train pulled into the station at Bellariva, I felt every bit as excited as the first day of my journey. A whole year. It felt like a lifetime. The places I'd seen, the people I'd met, of course, the forgotten treasures I'd given a new lease of life along the way. I'm a restorer by trade. Bringing our most beloved possessions back to life is what I love to do. I'd been traveling for months, working my way from one town to the next, fixing everything from family heirlooms to VCRs. Bellariva was my chance to take a break.
Bellariva.
Unfortunately, that would have to wait until after I'd unpacked.
开始了是吧？一张一张的，这能转的吗？点了不能点。Click on clasp to open them 啊，这问题点不了哎，这样是吧？
I picked up these sunglasses on my last stop. Hopefully I'm cool enough to pull them off.
什么东西啊
I saw a guitarist wearing these at a show
哦，
once. Rock and roll repair woman at your service.
这不 passport， 它好像没有语音啊，是暂停是吧 ？Arrival，
The tools of my trade. No hope of restoring things without these.
这锁没有钥匙咱打不开的。
Who doesn't love a scrunchie? Practical and stylish. My parents took this after I made my first repair. Seems like a lifetime ago. Looking forward to taking more close-ups of my fingers with this. I'll hand these out once I'm settled in. Fingers crossed they get me some work.
这不就完成了吗 ？Complete， 就把所有东西拿出来就 complete 的，这好像没有任何解谜要素。
Finally, I'd made it to Bellariva. I'd come for the food festival, taking place in a few days' time. After living off TV dinners and instant ramen for the last few months, I was craving a decent meal. Of course, I'd need to earn enough money to pay for it, so I figured I'd head out the next day and find some work. My parents never wanted me to go. They wanted me to stay in their shop and have a simple, stationary life. I knew there was a world out there, beyond the four walls of our antique store, that I had to be a part of. I daydreamed constantly about the weird and wonderful places each of our antiques came from. I loved figuring out their stories, revealing the memories hidden beneath the screws and wires. My story in Bellariva began with a little girl, and a voice she was longing to hear.
欢迎来到贝拉利瓦啊！这样第一章就没了，一共几张？一共有这么多张？这我没听说哎，有那么多张吗？啊，好像确实有几张来着。完成关卡12啊，最后一件是完成后记。哦，一共13是吧？最后呢，这后记吧 epilogue， 后记是 epilogue 了，也就算上 epilogue 一共14张是吧？啊，怪说不是很长。Lullaby。 是这么念的吗？
It was my first morning in Bellariva, and I couldn't wait to leave my hotel and explore. It was a quiet town, its streets and alleyways basking peacefully in the hot morning sun. In the main square, meanwhile, preparations were underway for the festival in a few days' time. As I handed out my flyers, I wondered what the people of Bellariva would need me to fix. So far, everything here seemed perfect. I was starting to worry I'd made a mistake when I felt someone tapping me on the back.
Hi, I'm Izzy. Do you know how to fix things?
It was a little girl, maybe 7 years old, who must have gotten hold of one of my flyers. She rummaged around in her backpack until she hauled out a battered red cassette deck.
My tape is broken and I can't make it work anymore. I tried to fix it myself, but there's this metal thing in the way. Can you try?
啊 ，Minato。
Why did you do that?
我
How
靠，
did you do that? I didn't see.
话这么多，修好就好了，别废话。操，为什么还要螺丝刀呀？这不用螺丝刀呀？啊，这样的都还有点游戏性。哎，放不进来了吗？啊，就要打开了。原来如此。我的鼠标呢？哦，螺丝在那儿。哎，这个操作我感觉还需要点时间来适应一下。怎么转来呢？这样转是吧？
Those batteries look like they need replacing.
Shite
Luckily, I have some spares.
啊，这个东西不太适合喜欢快速快点的人，你必须慢慢来，否则他会这个操作不能的，你必须一步一步来。啊，干嘛？转？哦，这样转，不好了吗？转过来，过了啊。As the music box plays, we hear a woman sing along. Minato cassette recorder. 这就第二章
When
了
it。finished, Izzy picked up the tape deck and
据说
tucked
很
it
短，
carefully into her backpack.
打得慢的估计2个小时能搞定，我估计1个半小时都不需要。
Thanks, Maria. You're the best person at fixing things ever.
No problem. Who was that singing? They're very
这个风格是可以，但为什么你要把这女主画的这么女魔头的样子？
My mum, she's not here anymore.
Izzy trailed off. It was the kind of silence a cassette tape would never be enough to fill.
cassette
When Izzy's friends called for her, she dug deep into her pockets, looking for something to pay me with. Eventually, she produced a grand total of a stick of gum, 3 mismatched buttons, and a yo-yo. I usually preferred a check, but Izzy looked so serious, I wrote out a full receipt. She seemed like a happy kid, but beneath it all, part of her life had been shattered. A part I wouldn't be able to fix.
晚安我的挚爱，就完成第2章。这个成就名字都还挺有味道的 ，Shattered 怎么一下子跑出来，感觉是个手游的什么游戏？帝国战争还是叫这名字吗
My first repair complete, I spent the rest of the day doing small jobs in and around the square. I was exhausted when I got back to my hotel and found a message asking me to make one more visit.
这个声音感觉听起来像20前半，但你这画的感觉像是40前半。
The address led me to a quaint little house, a stone's throw from the beach. Bathed in the evening light, it looked beautiful, in spite of its flaking paintwork and chipped tiles.
也刚刚那个小女孩是英音吗？这个肯定是美音啊。刚刚那小女孩好像是英音啊，莫名其妙听到一个 count。
The front door was opened by a harried-looking man, still dressed from a long day at the office.
Are you Maria? My name's Joseph. I'm Isabel's father. I'm so sorry she bothered you this morning.
Oh.
Please, come in. I'd like to settle up properly.
On the mantelpiece, I saw the remains of a broken statue. Without thinking, I picked up a fragment.
Ah, my father's statue. What's left of it, at least. Yet another way I'd have disappointed him. It survived 100 years in this family. But 5 minutes with Isabel and... Do you think you can salvage it?
Salvage。啊，这里倒是有点紧张了。这从哪儿开始拼啊？从你的这个腿部开始拼吗？
Will you be able to see the glue afterwards? I don't want people seeing the cracks.
哎呦，耶，这个感觉要逼死强迫症啊！涂这个胶水，不要啊！就这样吧。下一部分呢？身体吗？感觉这个吧，不像啊。这有啥东西啊？啊，这是条腿是吗？这看起来好猎奇啊！我操！话说这个胶水涂完之后，你不立刻把它粘上的话，你难道不会那个吗？ 啊，可能需要转一下了是吧？然后再用这个。我靠！耶，这个设定最好，仅此一次，别再给我玩这个，这玩的很不爽了，说实话。你感觉拼不起来，怎么拼啊？这样
Is this glue really strong enough to hold everything together?
你说呢？要不信的话，就干脆别让我弄了。我操！光这样涂胶水能把它全部粘住？不是这手，哪个手？这个手也不对。啊，可能要这样移过来是吗？还是不行。那这边也涂一下吧。啊，可以的，强行拖上去就好了。看来是我想太多了，是吧？这个不行吗？他说他是不是有顺序的？哎，不是可以上来了吗？哦，上去了。原来是那条是个腿是吧？底部还是这样的？这不连上了吗？
Sometimes I think my daughter should come with a warning label.
边缘的地方怎么快速能涂到？很尴尬。而且还会有点渗出来。这个特效你是要把我玩死了。满意啊，那。statue， 这个真的能靠胶水拼起来。
Thank you, Maria. It looks as perfect as it ever
也
did.
只能让这些非
My
强迫症
father
满意。
wanted me to make something of myself. He didn't have time for anything less.
As Joseph put the statue back on the shelf, it nudged against the family portrait stood proudly next to it. So he was Bellariva's mayor. And that was Izzy's mom. They must both miss her so much.
Sorry. I'm a little tired. I've been working late getting things sorted for the festival. There's only a few days to go. Looks like I'll be working late. Again?
When I told my parents I wanted to leave, they always found an excuse to be busy, to avoid talking about it. I guess keeping themselves occupied was their way of pretending it wasn't happening. Joseph's work must have been taking up so much of his time. But maybe that was what he wanted. I just hoped he was finding enough time for Izzy, too.
破塑重雕。电话。Disconnected.
My second day in Bellariva dawned bright and clear. Another beautiful sunny morning. Walking into town, I passed cafes overflowing with customers cradling their morning coffees. I stopped, breathing in the smell of roasted coffee beans and freshly baked pastries. I was about to go inside when the owner of Carmen's, the cafe next door, stopped me.
Hello, Maria? Were you here yesterday handing out flyers? I have a job for you.
Her place was petite,
Petit，
tucked between its competitors as if hoping they wouldn't notice. Judging by the empty tables inside, though, her potential customers hadn't noticed it either.
It's a bit slow today, but we're just getting started. I'm sure it'll pick up soon.
As Carmen chatted, she walked over to the counter and returned with an old rotary phone.
At least I've got plenty of time to practice my recipe for the festival. It's a new special I've been working on. I was hoping to call my sister for some, seasoning tips, but it won't connect. Can you see if you can figure out what's wrong?
哦，这感觉这个颜色应该是茶，这不直接能装上去？啊？这感觉没坏。
You can fix it, can't you? I can't afford to replace it.
Yeah, I
Obviously, we'd normally be much busier than this.
这类游戏拧螺丝一直是有快感的，说。这也是小学的时候拼这个敢达模型的乐趣了，道理是一样的。这不就是这就是空壳拿起来干嘛？妈的，呀，空壳拿起来干嘛 ？Fuck off, just fuck off。把这个。 Tracks Y and drag it. 这啥东西啊？我没看懂啊！在这个拉的一瞬间有点好玩。难道是要量到这儿？那不对吧？ 啊，这样就行。
Looks like this new circuit board is all hooked up.
好像不对。等，什么情况？没看懂。哪个地方我记得有个螺丝？这个地方是吧？ 而且所有螺丝都长得一样，其实已经是算给你降难度了。这个怎么装上去啊？问题是，从里面装上去吗？这也不行啊！ 不可能，这东西怎么装啊？这螺丝都已经……哦，这里，哇，这里还有一个！我靠，原来是啊！我还以为这个是装盘呢，我上当了，妈的！这应该是可以。 可以了。Rotary phone, ever dial.
When I handed the phone back to Carmen, she seemed almost reluctant to take it from me.
So it's all working now, is it? I don't have to leave it to dry or let it cool down?
Nope, it's ready to go. It'll be ringing off the hook in no time.
That's if I can pay my phone bill, anyway. And the rent, and the suppliers. Anyway, take a seat and I'll be right with you. Your coffee's on the house.
I sat at one of the empty tables, while at the counter, Carmen had started dialing the phone.
Hello! How's my favourite sister doing today?
As she talked, Carmen became more and more tense. This didn't seem like a call for some cooking advice.
I know I still owe you from last time, but I can't afford to take part in the festival if I don't pay.
I could almost feel the eye roll at the other end of the line.
You don't need to be here, though. Can't you just put the check in the post?
When the call ended, Carmen brought me my coffee, her hands trembling.
Sorry about that. My sister's decided to fly in for a visit. Oh God, I have to get ready. Actually, I might have another job for you. Can you come by tomorrow?
第4章什么？这字看起来像叫打给我，没看见啊？是打给我，对。破树重雕，第4章打给我 ，in focus。
The next day, I'd promised Carmen I'd return to help her get the cafe ready for her sister's arrival.
多少时间了？26分钟。
I was about to set out when I received an unexpected call from my hotel's reception desk. Apparently, another guest had asked for me by name. Curious, I took the creaking elevator up to the top floor and made my way to the room number they'd given. I knocked.
Are you here about the camera? It's about time.
The woman in front of me was immaculate. Not a hair out of place or a crease to be seen.
My sister tells me you know how to fix things. I'd usually go to an expert, of course, but in this town...
So this was Carmen's sister? The two of them couldn't have been more different. Inside her room, I saw a beautiful reflex camera. Any professional photographer's dream.
The viewfinder is completely dark. I can't see anything through it at all. I assume you can figure out what's wrong? You need the manual.
怎么看不起我？没见过这东西，当然要看一下。旋转起来最蛋疼，这可能也是因为这个用鼠标的原因。这好像没啥问题。这里面东西啊，有个东西碎了，其实就是换东西。与其说是这个维修，不如说是把这破的东西全部换了就行了。
I don't suppose you've fixed anything this valuable before.
但问题是还有个电池呢，我还能再拆。这啥东西啊？但问题是我没找到这个能插电池的地方。啊，是不是最后插电池是吧？那想当然先把它放进去。
If I use the screwdriver, I could adjust the angle of the mirror.
哦，原来如此。这里还要转的是吧？
Perfect. Now the viewfinder should be working.
Shite. 哦 shit， 就放不上去，蛋疼，这太蛋疼了。哎，它难道不是正面的吗？ 难道是上面、后面？电池放哪？哦，电池好像要放了。啊，这不是电池，是胶卷是吧？
I should make sure I screw everything back together.
Lennox U2G58，还有型号呢。
I felt a pang of envy as I handed the camera to Helena. I put my disposable to shame.
I picked it up on my first trip to
1958.
Paris. It's a 1958 limited edition, the first of its kind. It cost me 3 months' salary, but it was worth it.
I had no idea what 3 months' salary meant to Helena, but I was pretty sure it was more than I could afford. It was strange, really, that we were even staying in the same hotel. I'd picked this place because it was cheap and cheerful, but surely she could afford somewhere better? She took some test shots, fiddling with the camera settings until she was absolutely satisfied.
This work is immaculate. At least there's one person in this town who knows what they're doing. Sending you to me might be the first thing Carmen's actually gotten right.
I wondered why Helena had bothered coming if she thought so little of her sister.
I hear nothing from her for weeks, and then when she finally does call me, all she wants is money. If she thinks I'm lending her another penny, she'll have to convince me it's not a total waste of time.
That didn't sound good. If Hurricane Helena was about to hit, I hoped Carmen was ready.
透镜人生 ，In the Dark， 这样看起来像是门板啊。
The sun was setting over Bellariva by the time I reached Carmen's cafe. From the outside, it looked as quiet as ever, but inside, I found Carmen cleaning like her life depended on it.
Maria! Oh, don't mind all of this. If Helena finds one speck of dust in here, I'll never hear the end of it.
Carmen seemed pleased to see me, but I sensed the fidgeting tension beneath each sweep of her mop. Trying to live up to the standards of someone like Helena seemed like an impossible task.
I hope you didn't mind fixing the camera for her. She was furious when it broke. I really need this to go well. If she doesn't lend me the money, I don't know how long I can keep this place going.
Carmen led me to a back room, where she'd laid out the components of what looked like a neon sign.
I had this made when I first opened the cafe, but I'm hopeless with electronics.
So there was supposed to be a sign outside. This might explain the lack of customers.
I'd like to put it up before Helena gets here. Can you give it a try?
3根管子，这个呢，这胶水是吧？也这后面可能还挺难的，这么看的话。这个你马上怎么装啊？这好像不对呀。啊，这东西可能真的要涂胶水的是吧？ 啊，果然。你这很明显已经涂到外面去了。啊，是这样的，是吧？ 所以是这样子的，但没有电的问题是，你这样4根管插出来就有电了吗？ 我不知道芯片干嘛用的呢？
I think the whole thing is supposed to light up.
Whole thing is supposed to light up. Whole thing. 但问题是，不行啊！这其实让你测试的。
These connections aren't quite right. I should check the wiring.
啊！给了你这么多这个一根一根的，其实不需要那么多根，这也可以的。
I don't know, it's a bit flat. Maybe if it flashes, it'll really catch people's eye.
好，
Great idea. I think I have a spare part that could do that.
不早说。 强行增加难度。
It still needs something else. Maybe we can add one of these.
懂了，还需要再来一个是吗？我，你这真的是站着说话不嫌腰疼的，这个黑色的跟黑色的已经出 bug 了。哎， Carmen's， 说是 one of these 嘛，这难道是自己可以选的吗？这好像塞不上啊，这可以塞的，选一个是吧？披萨9，这什么东西啊？冰淇淋啊，这3选1是吧？那随便选，这无所谓。这应该不重要，现在应该可以了是吧？有意思。
It works.
可以
I'll
了。
screw everything together again and you'll be set.
OK, neon sign, Carmen's neon sign。鼠标好像没了，我靠，鼠标没了。来，原来是要让它先闪一下的。
The sign fixed, we headed outside and mounted it carefully over the cafe door.
哦，还真的是冰淇淋形状。
That's perfect, Maria. It looks just how I imagined it. When I had this sign made, it all seemed so simple. Oh, I can't believe I might have to give it all up. I hope I've done enough.
The smile froze on her face as she spotted something over my shoulder. I turned to see.
Of course, my sister owns the only cafe in this entire town that isn't actually open.
For better or worse, Helena had arrived. Carmen opened her mouth to explain, but Helena swept indifferently past her. Finally pausing in the doorway, she turned back towards Carmen.
The first thing we're doing is getting rid of that hideous sign.
And with that, she disappeared inside. I hoped Carmen's chances of saving the cafe hadn't disappeared with her.
万物启明 ，in the dark 是吧？万物启明这个翻译就过了吧？哦 ，playing off。
It was the day before the festival, and the whole town was busy getting ready. I had more work than I knew what to do with. When Joseph called with another job, I was craving the cool quiet of his and Izzy's seafront house. I'd barely reached their front door when I heard someone calling me.
Psst, Maria, I need your help. Quickly, it's top secret.
It was Izzy, peeking out from the side of the house. She beckoned for me to follow her. She led me through to a beautiful, unruly garden overflowing with flowers of every color. Nestled among them was a playhouse, its doorway almost completely obscured by a towering rose bush.
You have to squeeze past it and breathe in real small, like this.
Izzy took in a big gulp of air and crawled through the gap and into the playhouse. I hadn't planned on crawling in the dirt today, but the life of a repairwoman never did run smooth. On the table inside, there was an electronic toy. Not exactly the usual stock in my parents' antique shop.
I had an accident. I didn't do it on purpose or anything, but it won't turn on anymore. Can you fix it for me?
42来吧。哎，这个不是 GB 吗？啊，换屏幕是吗？这卡带很明显是 GB 的，天，这个卡带也是不得了哎。这个已经这么脏了。哦，声卡是吧？我靠，这有点麻烦。十字键啊，这是 A B 键是吧？还摇杆。啊 ，A 键也坏了，它只有一颗键了吗？图方便，只有一颗键。
Nothing. Maybe there's an issue with the battery.
Nothing. 好，拿不下来。这个问题，这关没有螺丝刀啊！我操！也这有这么麻烦啊？对，上屏是屏幕，下屏是按钮跟发那个扬声器的话，上屏是屏幕也是。 这个是按钮的话，那应该这个不是吗？看来不是，你只能放这个了。是这个，是这个。按钮这个1、2、3好像我不知道怎么1、2、3。红的话不行是吧？都一样，都是红的。这个可以了。都不需要用螺丝刀。卡带反正插下面这个是大家都应该
Do
知道的。
grown-ups play games as well?
那肯定。
Why does it sound so scary? It
Yokoi
wasn't like that. Can you show me how to
Open
play?
Map，
I tried before, but it was so hard.
真的假的要玩了？这不会是仿 Pokemon 的吧？过了吗？啊，可以了。Games console Yokoi Open Play Yokoi， 这不会是仿的 Yokai Watch 吧？
I watched Izzy retreat into its screen, taking refuge in a 3-inch world of her own. Well, I'd better head inside. Your dad is waiting for me.
Please don't tell him about the game. He'll think I broke it on purpose.
Why would he think that?
Because, well, I kind of dropped it really hard at the wall.
Izzy looked down, scuffing her shoes on the worn floor of the playhouse.
My dad said I have to go to this stupid festival tomorrow and put on a stupid dress, and I don't want to. All he cares about is working. He never wants to see me unless it's for his job. I'm not going. He can't make me.
With that, Izzy dove back through the rosebush and disappeared into the wilds of the garden. She was so young. She couldn't be expected to see that her dad was struggling too. It made me think, had I really tried hard enough to understand my parents' point of view? I was so focused on the adventures ahead of me. Maybe I didn't care enough about leaving them behind.
第8章是吧？游戏结束，成就结束。第7章，这是第7章。手表 ，Momentary。
Leaving Izzy hiding in the garden, I walked around to the front of the house and rang the doorbell. It was only then I noticed my favorite overalls covered in grass stains. I scrubbed desperately, but it was too late.
Maria, what are you doing? What happened to your clothes?
I was, repairing a lawnmower.
How unusual. Well, do come in. The job I've got for you is a little more delicate.
Totally embarrassed, I walked into an orderly room filled with papers and ledgers. So this was his office. You must be so busy getting ready for the festival. Are you looking forward to it?
Of course. It's traditional for the mayor to judge food from every cafe and restaurant in town.
好，这儿连在一起。
I'll be declaring the best chef in Bellariva by this time tomorrow. Speaking of which,
He unclipped the watch from his wrist and very carefully handed it to me.
I'll have a tight schedule to follow, but my watch stopped working a while ago. Could you see if you can make it tick again?
这个有螺丝的吗？东西很少啊，看起来。啊、我操，这妈还挺真实的。手表的这个螺丝真的很小。 大概尼玛跟眼镜或者 3DS 背后螺丝差不多大。你要感受过这种小的，再拆笔记本电脑都觉得很容易。去换什么表盘是吧？表盘碎了吗？啊，表盘碎了是吧？表盘碎了直接拆表，啊，不能拆，要从里面才能拆的。表盘这么难拆的吗？
Ah, the main plate has completely cracked.
What?
I'll need to replace it. The cogs look good though. If I'm careful, I can reuse those.
Are you sure it will all fit back together? I've not gone a day without this watch since my wife gave it to me.
Eh, 这里好像还有，哇，对哦，这种全部拆下来了还能玩。啊，这可能要算了是吧？这感觉不够大哎。哎，真的假的？这好像挺难的。镜面已经没问题了。然后这一整个只能拆下来了，这个倒一个一个可以拆。啊，我懂了，你要把这些拆下来。啊，还，然后呢？但我拿不下这东西，它好几个。哎，这不需要了吗？啊，是这个是吧？啊，这还真可以。Love always。搞定，没搞定。哎，没搞定吗？哦，好像少装了个东西。不会吧？完了完了完了，这下浪费时间了。我还以为搞定了呢，我还以为确实不需要把这个，啊，这次完蛋了。不过这也很正常，确实在拼装的时候经常会漏一颗螺丝啊，漏个组件啊。所以我说怎么好像感觉不太对。这看起来已经很完美了，装哪儿去？这次应该可以了。Watch 什么？Schonfelder Automatic 36。
As I handed the watch back to Joseph, my fingers traced over the engraving on the back. I hoped fixing this was one small way I could help him move forward.
I can't believe it's working, Maria. Thank you. My wife was a brilliant woman. Feeling this ticking on my wrist, it makes me feel like she's still here. Watches measure minutes and hours like they're infinite. I didn't know we had so little time. Even with Isabel, I barely see her. And when I do, she acts like she hates me.
Just then, the phone rang. Even when he was at home, his work was never done.
Sorry, Maria. I have to take this. I'll see you at the festival tomorrow.
As I left, I turned and saw him pacing the floor of his office, his watch glinting in the afternoon sun. I hoped its quiet ticking would at least bring him some peace during the busy days to come.
及时修补，这个翻译的就很没水平。下一个 Buddy， 这好像也是什么东西 ？The bigger picture。
When my last job of the day brought me to Carmen's apartment, the door was opened by someone I didn't expect to see, Helena.
Sorry for inflicting this mess on you. Carmen's never seen a knick-knack she doesn't want to buy, apparently.
Carmen's apartment was a little chaotic, but totally charming. It was easy to imagine her living in a place like this. It definitely wasn't Helena's style. She seemed more upmarket than flea market. I wondered why she was even here.
We're having a clear out. Or at least I am. Carmen's not helping. As usual. There's a market at the festival tomorrow. I'm selling some of these things to make her some money. She says she has nothing when there's all this stuff right under her nose.
Helena stepped delicately past the items on the floor and reached down to pick up one from the pile.
Look at this slide projector. Our parents treasured it, but Carmen treats it like a piece of junk. Can you take a look?
Beware electricity。侧面感觉没什么东西。啊，有个东西碎了。
That light bulb is completely smashed. Okay, I'll need to redirect the light to the lens at the top for the projector to work.
我靠，这个感觉有点难。啊，懂了，这样子。角度不好看呢，这样可以了。最后一块怎么镶进去？这没地方放了呢。Aware electricity。这不应该少一块了呢？靠，这个有点难，这我都不知道怎么放的东西。啊，这里有一个那个。Electricity。但拿下来了，这还得重新绕了，是吧？ 这不是可以罩上去了吗？但好像并不能这么罩，能不能2块都装上？这好像这地方感觉只能装1块。但好像这样根本没，哎，光线在那儿。哦，这里还有螺丝呢，没看到。
Oh, typical. Carmen's even managed to get a slide stuck in here.
总不至于把这放到这儿了，不可能的。这个没看懂啊，还有什么东西拿出来？这好像拆开也没用啊。哦，这道确实解谜了，2个孔，为什么要2个孔？只需要1个就够了。确实应该往上，应该往上的。光线上来之后，这里再来1块了。这样光线就没问题了。
I was so excited when I moved to the city. Carmen, she looks so sad.
哎，
Here's the clicker you'll need to attach. God knows how Carmen broke that as well.
这个还要装呢。我靠！这鬼知道装哪儿啊？
Looks like something is still missing.
12。原来如此。
I think I've missed a screw somehow.
这个别告诉我还得按顺序来放。
younger, Carmen was always following me around. I suppose she looked up to me. A cool older sister. She used to ask me when I was coming home, but I was always too busy.
Omnicolor slide projector.
Helena was transfixed. Staring at the two young sisters the projector had brought glaringly into focus.
I never meant to let her down.
But you haven't, have you? You came all this way just to help with the cafe. Plus the money.
That's the problem. There is no money. I lost my job a few months ago. My savings are almost gone. I have nothing. Carmen thinks I'll throw my checkbook at her bad decisions and make them okay. But I can't. Not this time. You know, the funny thing is, I came here wanting to tell her the truth. But she's so infuriating. How can I ask her for help when all she cares about is herself?
Helena fell silent, shrinking under the gaze of her younger self, projected onto the wall.
We drifted so far apart when I moved away. It felt like the only thing keeping us together was my bank balance. I know I have to tell her the truth. It isn't fair. But I already lost everything else. What if I lose her too?
溜走 The Bigger Picture 第9章，打算让 Epilogue 排5章，1个小时07分钟，1个半小时差不多。Boiling Point， 时间确实不长，因为一段一段都
The
很
day of
短。
the festival finally came, and after all my hard work, I was ready to put down my tools and pick up a fork. The smell as I entered the main square was incredible. Each stall was selling food even more delicious than the last. The competition would start any minute. Most stallholders were waiting anxiously for the mayor to pay them a visit. All of them, that was, except Carmen, who was still frantically chopping vegetables and stirring pots.
Maria! Thank God you're here. Can I ask you the world's biggest favour? Helena was supposed to help me run the stall today, but she never turned up. Probably too ashamed to show her face. I can't believe she lied to me.
Carmen was stirring so furiously she was in danger of tipping the pot over altogether.
The mayor will be here any minute for the judging, but I'm almost out of my special.
She wasn't really going to ask me, was she? Not on my day off.
I have a stove ready to build and everything. Can you set it up and make me a spare batch?
我靠 Carmen's White Veggie Soup, a pint of
Oh,
stock.
her recipe
pint
is a
of
bit smudged. Never mind, I'm sure whatever I put in will be fine.
这没用的。我靠，这个谁会装啊？啊，它有提示的是吧 ？Broth， 意思就我还要做的是吧 ？A pint of stock， 这叶子应该没用的。那侧面怎么装啊？如果装那儿的话，侧面不是还有个东西？好像少了个什么东西、啊。侧面应该还有一个。我现在连这什么东西都不知道，点火器吗？啊，这可以插旁边的。
It all fits. Now to light the gas.
好。啊，对了。原来如此，我靠！
I think that pot is really boiling now. Smells great, if I say so myself. Here are the ingredients that Carmen's given
啊，果然
me.
没买什么。
What to add first?
A pint of stock 什么东西啊 ？stock 不是股票吗？你他妈这谁能知道啊？什么叫 a pint of stock？ 1/4 stick of， 我靠 ！Plenty of 什么东西 ？3 wide 什么 mushroom？3 wide mushroom。Handful of chopped tomatoes。2 broccoli florets。Half of a carrot。1/4 steak。1 pint of stock。stock 到底啥东西啊？ 啊，可能就是锅什么，1/4 steak，handful of chopped，3 wide mushroom。这好难啊！ Half of a carrot.
That looks good. I'll scoop a spoonful when I'm ready to serve.
1/4什么概念？感觉就应该是一个吧。Plenty of 什么 onion 吗？只能选 onion 了。就这样，我觉得应该可以过了。Four season soup， 它应该不需要完全按照那要求的，只要大概对就行。
My part done, Carmen took over and added the finishing touches. It was just in time, and a moment later, Joseph arrived with Izzy in tow. Carmen anxiously handed them both a serving.
That was so tasty. Can I have some more, please?
Well, you've certainly earned yourself a loyal customer in my daughter. We have a few more meals to taste, but so far you are one of the best. Good luck.
Joseph and Izzy looked so happy together. Maybe the festival was doing them some good after all. Carmen, on the other hand, seemed annoyed. But why, when it had all gone so well?
I wish Helena was here to see this. She's so convinced I'll never succeed at anything.
She wants what's best for you. She's just not very tactful about it.
Yes, I know. Even when I was a kid, she pushed me when no one else did. I just wish she hadn't lied to me. But then, I've asked so much of her over the years. I never stopped to think how much she actually had to give.
你好，主厨成就已经 boiling point。上面啊 harmony。
The festival finished. I only had one day left before I had to catch my train and leave Bella Riva behind. I couldn't go without saying goodbye to Carmen. So, that evening, I made my way to the cafe. It was unrecognizable. She'd done it. Best food in Bella Riva. Half the town was outside waiting to see what the fuss was about.
Maria! My favorite sous chef. Come on through.
It was Carmen, acting every inch the successful cafe owner she deserved to be. Even Helena was there, serving the coffees. This was the last place I expected to see her after yesterday's drama. Carmen led me through to a balcony upstairs, where she brought out an old record player.
I found out where Helena was on the day of the festival. She was selling her camera to clear the cafe's debts. But then she didn't have much left for herself. So, I've asked her to come and stay with me for a while. We have a lot of catching up to do. I wanted to give her this, to cheer her up. We listened to it all the time when we were kids. Do you think it has one last tune in it?
Okay, let's see what happens when we turn this on. Here's the problem. This wiring isn't connected properly.
Oh.这问题还有2个东西。
If I turn the volume up, I should be able to hear it now. The speaker isn't connected properly. I should check the wiring. I think that should do it. This record should play beautifully. It's spinning the wrong way. How can I get it to play in the right direction? It must be to do with the motor. Let's see if one of these spares can turn things around.
我去。并听不到。只有2个。随便先换一个来说。
This motor doesn't seem to work. Maybe I'll have better luck with a different one. Well, it's playing in the right direction. I should check it's turning at the correct speed.
"没问题，可以了。哎，这东西到哪儿了？
What will remain of these days? The sweetest words.
What will remain of the smiles?
The ones that stole
Record player.
my heart that day.
The record player's crackling tune must have caught Helena's ear, as she appeared a few moments later.
Is that my old record player? I can't believe you've kept it all these years, Carmen.
Leaning over the music, They looked just like the young sisters the slide projector had preserved all these years, inseparable once again. Carmen told me about your camera. That was a really generous thing to do.
I loved that camera, but I love my sister more. Now it's her time to be the person she wants to be. I'm going to stay here with her for a while. Make up for lost time.
Carmen and Helena's relationship wasn't suddenly going to be perfect, but they were both prepared to try. And to think, it had all started because of a call Carmen made about some seasoning tips. I guess in the end, maybe it wasn't so hard to just pick up the phone and dial. I hadn't spoken to my own parents in a year. I wanted to hear their voices more than anything. But the silence between us was so cavernous. I didn't know how I'd ever find the words to bridge it.
翻盘成就一首，啥？最后3个 harmony 写多少时间？共是是盒子，1个小时21分钟。这个菜单是吧？这个继续菜单 version 51776661，感觉是我的账户是吧？啊，这是亏的，这亏的就直接退掉了吗？我试一下，啊，直接退掉了是吧？不算很短，而且速度也很难冲起来，一般来说就2个小时不到一点就可以搞定。Begin a new chapter added， 这 new chapter 估计就是这个 epilogue。来吧，A father's reprise， 还 reprise。
My final morning in Bellariva, I received one last call out to Joseph and Izzy's house. I knew I had to pack, but I figured I could squeeze in one final job before I had to leave. When I arrived, I found Joseph tidying up his wilderness of a garden. The playhouse was already cleared. Inside, I could see Izzy happily testing out her screw-driving skills on the back of her cassette deck.
You've made quite the impression. Izzy, tells me she's going to be a repairwoman like Maria.
I'm sure she could be anything she wanted if she put her mind to it.
She could. She's a brilliant child. Spending the day with her at the festival, I haven't had so much fun in ages. I wanted to give her something before she starts to forget.
Inside, the house was transformed, flooded with light and the sounds of the garden. It felt alive again. This would be my last repair in Bellariva, but it felt like it was the house that had really been restored.
It's a music box. It used to play beautifully, but now when I wind it up, nothing happens. I'd love for Izzy to hear it sing again. Can you help?
转一圈没发现螺丝，哦，还有钥匙。尝一下，这里好像有什么东西。啊，钥匙一插就会转起来那种类型是吧？
Maria, could you add this family picture of us?
能不能回答 no 的？啊，所以就可以了，我操！啊，就可以了，根本就不需要涂那么多了。这个挺容易，烦的关卡倒挺烦的，这个挺容易，反正无所谓，关键是这儿，这不用动，翻跟斗，翻一下。 这好像取不出来。哦，操！原来如此。我 看来是我小看它了，我还以为挺简单。这样子东西可以取下来。
This mechanism is completely broken. I'll need to take it all apart before I can fix it.
你有这么多东西，你从哪儿掏出来这么多东西？这已经废了。那塞吧。你怎么连这儿都能触发这个旋转的按钮了？不觉得很诡异吗？好，这还选了是吧？我靠，这个怎么选？这个可以，但是啊，这好像刚刚可以，刚好没问题。其实你顺序已经装反了，这样装在现实生活中装不进去的。啊，然后你可以用钥匙来试一下。好，这好像并不行，没动起来。啊，这里还有一个。再来一下。好，可以了是吧 ？Music box.
Perfect. The mechanism is good as new.
好。这鸟我们要放哪儿？啊，这鸟是放这儿的是吧？
I think that's everything back together again. I should play it to make sure.
啊，然后那鸟就会弹出来了是吧？啊，果然。
My wife
Oh,
used to
shit.
sing this song to Izzy each night before bed, but I always worked too late to join them. Will you dream a dream for me? I sit by your side and hold you so tight.
Podfino, Dove
Know
Nest.
that I will. I've missed so much already. I want to be the father my wife wanted me to be. I've ended up so much like my own father. Working all the time. Izzy needs me more than that. Especially now it's just the two of us. My daughter comes first. Well, until she gets bored of her stuffy old dad anyway.
I'll never ever get bored of you, Dad.
Izzy came running into the room where Joseph scooped her up and onto his shoulders. She gazed at the music box, her eyes shining. I'd never seen her look so happy.
Thank you, Maria, for everything. The things you fixed for me. I'm so glad to have them back.
Joseph was a good father, and I could tell he was determined to be an even better one. When it came down to it, that was all any of us wanted. A second chance to make something right. My time in Bellariva was almost over, but before I left, I knew there was something of my own I needed to fix.
谢谢你的音乐。啊，Departure， 又回到这个了是吧？
My time in Bellariva was almost at an end, Another chapter finished in a story whose ending I hadn't felt ready to write. The people I'd met, the items I'd restored, they'd taught me so much about what was really important. Pulling out my suitcase from beneath the bed, I remembered the day I stole it from my parents' shop, the day I left. Afterwards, I was too ashamed to call them, to apologize. It was a guilt I'd been carrying around every day since. As I packed, I knew that it was up to me to find a way to lighten the load.
估计是把所有东西放回去是吧？好，东西好像不一样了。
Helena gave me these designer shirts. Not sure I'll pull them off as well as she does. Joseph's idea of light reading for the train. It does look thorough. The recipe for Carmen's special. I'm under strict instructions to guard it with my life.
它与其说是这个纪念碑谷，这个其实是一个烟雾弹。
My parents would love Bellariva. Maybe I can convince them to make the trip.
那个是偏解谜的，这个是偏故事。解谜的部分其实是没什么太多需要思考的。哦，这个不是票吗？
My train ticket. Can't believe it's time to leave Bellariva behind.
这个 train ticket 怎么这么像佛呢？这背景不是应该在美国吗？这个应该是那谁的
Izzy gave me this in exchange for my repair manual. She'll be a pro in no time. The soundtrack to my travels. I'll be listening to this on the journey.
OK. Suitcase. Aventura Classic.
My suitcase was full, but it was my heart that felt heavy as I made my way to the station. I was sorry to be leaving Bellariva behind, but I hoped that in my own small way I'd made a difference. Helena and Carmen's reunion was possible because they'd learned to overcome their differences. Joseph had realized he shouldn't let his grief or his work get in the way of his relationship with Izzy. They'd each learned to see things from someone else's perspective. Maybe it was time I saw things through my parents' eyes. I knew it would be easier to jump on the next
啊，还可以
train,
这么拖的是吗？
put even more distance between us. But I finally felt ready to talk to them. I just didn't know if they would feel the same.
这样甩是吧？
Did I even remember their number? I wasn't sure until I reached for the phone and it all came flooding back. Mom? Dad?
这个是结尾了是吧？
Maria? Is that you?
马只是同一个团队做的，但不是一个风格，风格是完全不一样。Voice performance， 几个人？一共确实就没几个人。是解谜的部分只占了感觉1/4，4分之3人欣赏故事。至于这个故事到底怎么样，反正，哎呀，评价比较主观，所以没什么可以多讲。US2 Games。 Produced by Apple 还行，这就是最后一张什么？一个电话的距离成就一列索，这还是最后一个 Epilogue， 这应该是彩蛋部分，什么东西啊？咖啡机 Carmen's Letter Epilogue。
Dear Maria,
啊，我还以为没有
Carmen
配音
here. Sorry I haven't written. The cafe's been absolutely manic since you left. Luckily, I have Helena here to help. You wouldn't recognise her. She's like a new woman. She's always running round, taking orders and making drinks. I even heard her compliment a customer on their outfit. Personally, I draw the line at fluorescent green bowling shirts, but each to their own. It certainly made the customer smile. She misses the city, though. Bellariva's many things, but it's definitely not as chic as she'd like. She said there was a coffee shop near her old apartment where they made coffee with a shape drawn on top. It got me thinking, I'm an award-winning chef. I can
figure out how to put a leaf on a cappuccino. A bit of cosmopolitan coffee might be just what Helena needs. Of course, ordering a new coffee machine was the easy part. I wish you could have seen the mess I got into trying to put the thing together.
啊，这其实已经是那谁了 ，Carmen 的视角了。这么复杂的吗？最后一关？好哦，这就不是咖啡了是吧？这就是一块曲奇了。也这个感觉很复杂，最后这关。不会吧？哇靠！最后这个有点。啊，所以算是 epilogue 呀，因为最后的所以难一点了。你这拆了啊，底下还有。
These pipes look pretty simple. I should start with them.
这个 pipe 真的 pretty simple 吗？
How can there be so much steam? Ugh, I'm getting soaked. I'll need to connect all the pipes correctly to stop the steam pouring out. I'll need to connect all the pipes correctly to stop the steam pouring
这好
out.
像方向感觉不对，我只能放上面。啊，放上面对。这有点蛋疼。这 pipe 有很多啊，啊，它是一段一段的，是吧？那这个就只要这样就好了。这两个不都一样的吗？这里还有螺丝啊！谢了，谢。你确定是连得起来的吗？
That steam doesn't look good. There must be something wrong with the pipes.
不对呀，这。靠！最后这关好难。 啊！我靠，还要把线都连对是吧？但确实是那个更快一点，这个有啥用啊？啊，这个是装这儿的是吧？这个不会能放下面的吗？啊，下面不能放。啊，然后就连在一起了，我靠！
Finally,
我
no
操
more steam.
这个也太难了嘛！不对，这应该不是连这个人，那没那么简单。它有6根线嘛，背面就有啊，背面就有3根，什么1、2、3对应哪个？这里只要把它记住就好了。都一样。你这里如果这么摆的话，那这里也必须这么摆，必须要保证一样。2大概是往那儿连。 这里好像是个 X 型。可以了啊。
I think that's everything. Better test the buttons just to make sure. All done. Piece of cake. Time to make my first coffee, I think.
还没完。我去，不会吧？问题是我并没有做过咖啡，我都不知道蒸汽都干嘛用的呢。 就这样。
Smells delicious. Now to make it look magical.
Oh, 我操！这还会没掉呢。
A perfect coffee. All it needs is a saucer and a couple of Helena's favourite biscuits.
这个不会是 Biscoff？ 最后这 epilogue 还真长啊 ！Espresso machine, new combi classic.
I was feeling more has-been than coffee queen by the time I'd made a drink fit for human consumption. It looked a bit, postmodern, but knowing Helena's refined tastes, I hoped she'd think it was intentional. Always the connoisseur, she didn't even bother to look at it at first. She was so busy wafting it under her nose. Steamed up her glasses, of course. How was she going to see my work of art through an eye full of fog? When she finally spotted it, though, she was totally impressed. I'll admit, she spent several minutes trying to figure out exactly what it was I'd drawn. She decided it was probably a horse. Well, what she doesn't know won't hurt her. She was impressed enough to ask for another one. I guess I'll need to get some practice in. The whole thing was such hard work, Maria. I never realised how difficult it was, all that mechanical stuff. It made me realise how much I have to thank you for, so I wanted to say that now. Better latte than never. Hoping you're well. Your friend, Carmen.
结了是吧？咖啡时间成就已列出就没了是吧 ？Epilogue， 一共是13章加一个这个结尾啊 ，Epilogue。与其说是这个解谜，不如说就是看故事，故事也不是很长，感受向的游戏吧。重点在于体验。OK， 完结了。